Hello everybody, welcome to my presentation. I am Kishor Parajuli from Nepal Open University studying at MPhil second semester. I am making my presentation on functional theories of translation today as an assignment given by our tutors in the subject of translation studies. In this presentation, I will be discussing the various text types suggested by Katherine Reiss, their characteristics and criteria for translating them. When we talk about the early translation, mainly the translation theory is focused on translating words and sentences. In the earlier times, translators did not move beyond the meaning carried by the words and the sentences. They mainly focused on the lower linguistic levels, shadowing the communicative meanings the text would have. But later in 1970s and 1980s, the theorists who worked on the translation studies laid emphasis on functional as well as the communicative meanings to the analysis of translating the text. So here Katherine Reiss also advocated on retaining communicative meaning of the translated text. She mainly focused on equivalence. So I'll be talking about the different kinds of text types too. As Katherine Reiss brought the concept of equivalence in the 1970s, she said that text is not merely the word or the sentence. Text not only have the words, sentences, it has a kind of communicative function. It carries communicative function. The words and the sentences which are used in the text, they communicate with the receivers, audience. And she also advocates the functional approach to systematize the assessment of translation. She has mainly summarized the types of text along with their characteristics. She talks about mainly four kinds of text, and she also talks about their characteristics and how these different kinds of text can be translated, different methods, different criteria. So, as the first text type, informative text has facts about the objects, facts about the entity. It communicates information, it communicates knowledge, sometimes it communicates opinions. The language dimension is logical, so it has the focus on contents. It's written in plain prose, and the messages are explicitly comprehensible in the text. The examples of informative text are report and the reference one. Report is an example of informative text because it contains the fact about the events. It contains facts about the entity. It has information. It delivers knowledge. The second kind of text type that she talks about is expressive text. Expressive text expresses the sender's attitude, sender's opinion, sender's perspective to the readers. And it's form focused. It has got the aesthetic meaning, metaphorical meaning. So it's a kind of creative composition made by the author, in through which we express our perspectives about anything. So while translating such texts, the translator should adopt the perspective of the source text author. What is the opinion of the source text author? That should be retained by the translator. As poem, play, there are some examples of expressive text because poem expresses the poet's attitude, poet's perspective, poet's opinion about something which is creatively made. The third kind of text type that Katherine Reiss talks about is operative text. Operative text is also called appellative text, which makes an appeal to the text receiver, text audience. And this kind of text is mainly used for persuading people, making people follow the opinions of the author. That's why it has persuasive function in dialogic language, where we expect the equivalent effect on the audience too. Whatever opinions I would like to share and I want my audience to follow. So after my text, reading my text, the audience will also have the equivalent effect. So the example of operative text is advertisement, because advertisements have the contents that persuade people. So it has persuasive function. The fourth kind of text type suggested by Reiss is audio medial. Audio medial text is mainly related with the films, some visual images, some spoken texts. This supplements the other functions with visual images and music. In informative text, we can have audio medial text, where we can just insert, incorporate images, music. In the same way, we can also incorporate audio medial text in expressive text as well as the operative text. Many a time, the text we just talk about, they can have hybrid functions. In other words, we can say we have one text that not only have only one function. A biography can have both informative as well as the expressive function. A sermon can be both informative as well as the operative function. A sermon gives information also. A sermon appeals to the audience and persuades them also. So that's why it carries both of the functions. Reiss also suggests some specific translation methods according to the text type. We have four different text types and we have four different translational methods. For example, when we are translating the informative text, the translator tries to retain the conceptual content. What is the content in the text? Through plain prose, without redundancy. If necessary, there will be the existence of explicitation. That means messages are explicitly, expressed if needed. Translating expressive text, we adopt the standpoint, viewpoint, the opinion, the perspective of the source text writer. What is the source text writer? Writer's opinion in the text. The translator will be carrying or retaining that opinion. Operative text, while when we translate operative text, we try to create equivalent effect among the target text receivers. And audio medial text, this supplements the written words with visual images and music. She also lists the following instruction criteria. For example, by which the adequacy of translate target text may be assessed. She talks about two different criteria, intralinguistic criteria as well as extralinguistic criteria. Intralinguistic criteria is related with language. Extralinguistic criteria is related with non-language features. Under intralinguistic criteria, we have semantic features, we have lexical features, we have grammatical as well as the stylistic features. In extralinguistic criteria, we have situation, subject, field, time, case, receiver, sender. So, importance of these criteria differs in terms of text types. For example, in the content-focused text, the informative text, we try to retain the semantic equivalence. We try to incorporate semantic features there. When we have news items, we may focus on grammatical criteria. When we have any scientific text, we just lay emphasis on the style of this source text. So that's why the importance that we give on different criteria may vary from one text to another text. So Ray's contribution in the translation theory, in the theory of equivalence, is very great, greatly acknowledged, because she tried to develop the theory in ways translation theory moved beyond the lower linguistic levels like words and sentences, and she tried to incorporate functional and communicative approaches to the analysis of translation. Because of our consideration on communicative purpose of the translation, where meaning is more important, her contribution is considered very significant. However, she is not far from criticisms. The critics say that a translational theory lacks the inclusion of fatigue cognitive function to maintain contact between communicative parties. When we talk about fatigue function, we mainly talk about maintaining relationship between the parties, between the audience as well as the center. And there were also criticisms on how specific text can be translated through proposed methods to say propose the methods, she proposed criteria, and there are some specific texts, some business texts where we use specific words, we use specific discourse, we use specific language, we use specific complex metaphors, which is not very possible with a proposed method. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.